The thing I cannot do, or one of many things, I cannot concentrate on one person, the blame for, let's say, the US foreign policy manipulations since the Second World War. I could go back further to the beginning in what I cannot do, the founding, which is when we can start blaming or forgiving, because the founded state, should make itself accountable, but it did not. I don't know why this isn't a thing in the West. Maybe the forgiveness of sins in their tradition eliminates accountability, which would explain a massive lot of otherwise sheer supremacist arrogance. Otherwise, the rather excellent film Nuremberg would have landed more wisely instead of a courtroom full of gobsmacked doughboys saying, "Gosh, I hope we got him," less than 50 years after the Indian Wars ended, after which there was no Nuremberg. And imagine had Joe Biden been brave and not devout, a free human, he could have cut the cord with Bibi tens of thousands ago, and had not played past the policy with the next two hopefuls, bound by the same cords of messianism. The last bit on that bit is that it makes no difference to the dead Palestinians, dead Lebanese children, or dead anybody's, whether the supplier of the bombs that took them out and the source of the moral, civilizational, and financial support given by the West to its cousin Zionists is a raper of children or a pious, doddering Catholic or his overwhelmed VP. It makes no difference to them which monster signs the bill. And it makes no difference to me, especially since the child rapers were clearly a bipartisan bunch. I suppose it is a human instinct to find the goat, the single one to revile, while churchgoers of all stripes sign on, but it is a compulsion tedious and ineffective. It is our culture that does this stuff and forgives itself over and over, and it is disgusting. Nice, clean, living secular Democrats have done the horrible deed as much as anyone. When the civilizational moment happened, and they stood their ground with their civilized brethren and sanctioned the latest genocide after so many, they lost me forever. And anyway, I'm not a team member. It is safe to say I caucused enthusiastically with Democrats through Obama, who I thought was a remarkable person to be president, but since no promise has been kept by them since, except their promise to support Israel, no matter what, I caucus no longer. That I am now thought of as having joined the enemy is just proof of a total lack of imagination and quite Nazi. The state lays out its precepts in its founding documents, then demands allegiance to them of its citizens. Do you swear to uphold and defend, etc.? I know I went through the ceremony, and I felt then I should have dissented. I would never attempt to destroy the state, just question the sincerity of its precepts, since I am being asked to swear on them. Questioning 250-year-old musings of elitist slave owners should be part of anyone's freedom, and if bits of it appeal, equality and all that, we should ask whether or not the phrases that refer to equality have been lived up to or not. They have not. This implicit restriction of freedom might be the core of the two sides lining up and hurling insults at each other, masquerading as adult discourse. I see nothing else. But they should remember, to the relief of the rest of us, they are all bound by the pledge, one nation. And they're really not all that different. Illegal wars since World War II, both teams have done it. Failure to ensure the people's health care, the rights of all citizens to marry, to make love to any consenting adult, to live where they please, fair day's wages for a fair day's work, equality under law, all failed at by both parties. In fact, the two parties look more and more like Catholics and Protestants of the last 500 years, enemy within and one without. Because I have friends who identify as Republican, I have to tell you this identity is not a deal breaker. I did not immediately lose respect for them when I discovered they had voted for Trump, any more than those who voted Democrat this last time round. And almost to a person, my Democrat friends claim it is a deal breaker, which speaks about two things: the Democrat, and I confess my white maleness. But in this disguise, I can hold my seat and provoke. It works miles better than scoffing. This about that. My friend Pete voted Trump 3 times. Basically, he blames his struggles on immigrants. I blame his struggles on US willing unequal income distribution, and we argue. But honestly, my position is not the Democrat. I'm not a Protestant to his Catholic. I'm a pagan. I think the borders should be open, non-existent, or that we are the illegals. Christianity, whatever the cults, answers none of my questions nor spiritual needs, and its impact on the world's peoples has been disastrous, a la the Democrats. I'd have a tougher time with the Brahmin of the Tory party, let's say, but elitism seems everywhere. I don't have any relationship to the elites in either party. I don't condemn them because it seems such a human weakness, such a universal preoccupation of essentially weak people that I let it be. But the heart of my separation from them is I don't enjoy what they do, what they are. They are utterly, indescribably uninteresting to me. Shakespeare didn't write about royals or nobles. He wrote about psychopaths, who I suppose are interesting. Macbeth is, but Musk is not. To me, Shakespeare was really usually doing the Menendez brothers over and over, kings, princes, Caesars, tribunes, and a long list of lovers, who are admittedly lovely. So I won't go to their clubs or attend their lectures. Attending lectures after the age of 15 is really vanity, alien to me. I have attended performances since, or the odd rally, but those days are gone. It is a relief to know the difference. I love going to hear music and watch plays. They fortify me. Catharsis is a wonderful thing. Doubt is a lovely thing. Just by and by, Apollo is the Greek god of music, dance, truth, prophecy, and healing. My, oh my. The more he is described, the more I see Dionysus. One is known as the oracle, the other god of theatre, and the god of wisdom is Athena, female. She's the only one I can imagine sitting at a play. Some of us do that, while the other two are busy acting, lighting, directing, writing, getting drunk afterwards, arguing, fighting, and then fucking, working. Athena is close to my heart, but she is a virgin. Elite. Another drift. The critics say this about Epic, the new Elvis documentary, and to a person they say, well, I was never an Elvis guy, but this opened my eyes. Really? Never? What kind of something makes you impervious to That's All Right, Mama? I was in his grip at 12, I know. It didn't stop me falling for Racine or Tolstoy, I promise you, or Keats, though I do get to Keats through Elvis somehow. Shakespeare through Bob Dylan. Why does a modern person construct themselves out of what they are not? There seems not a little fear in it. Sex does overpower thinking every time, but to have both running clear and free in the viscera, oh, what fun. Sex and thoughts. The elites of my tribe have sundered sex. It is probably their greatest achievement. The enemy is so overwhelming and there is no way to surrender to it and win that Kiwanis gold medal. So our paragons, our statues are made of stern resistance and the misogyny that doth attend it. I just listened to a Novara episode. Aaron Bastani meets Adrian Wooldridge. They are discussing liberalism, which seems to define as the rights of the individual. As the discussion goes on, it clarifies that the rights of the individual are in fact rights to property and wealth. No mas. There's nothing else neath heaven and earth, no other motive, these fellows seem to say. So to reach Dutch burgherdom is the pinnacle of success in the heart of the successful. All those fat fellows in Rembrandt, the propertied person in there is therefore an individualist. The wealthier one is the more individual. Unique as synonym. Well, no, obviously. They value most high their agreement on everything. They are constituents of a republic, the same persons who only disagree on what the rest should be allowed. This was the nature of our foundering and why Tom Paine is so quiet. One imagines the beginning, the Dutch East India Company, then the British East India Company. It's not enough. It's enough to make one interested in India, and I am, and they are not, only in themselves. Somehow Adrian manages to marginalize sexuality and minorities in liberalism as hobbies liberalism allows. There's the great liberal claim. This is the great liberal claim. They allow. As if what already exists and has existed since the first days are finally what the liberal allow. On the 6th day, the liberal rested and had a run around Amsterdam in an Audi before tea. He sees these flustered and beautiful identities he did not choose to identify till they stood up and said, "Oi, I am here," as complainers. Liberalism uniquely tolerates, if not discovered like algebra or Manhattan, and for this we should be grateful. I'm not. He turns Mary Poppins into a charming, frightfully English Pan, the God, not the Peter, another virgin. The daddy redeemed from liberalism by Dick Van Dyke, the dance of the chimney sweeps and its frozen self thawing with no help at all. Liberalism's rather hysterical limitations as a human system grow and grow, its prides and preoccupations and martial consequences, its extraordinary reduction of the human to aspirers to expensive vacations makes me a little dizzy.